Welcome back to the Keep Your Torch Lit podcast.
Apollo. Did I get it? Guys? Do I get the idol?
A few years late. You better apologize for that interruption there.
I will never apologize. I will never apologize for missing Survivor for my brother's football game.
Yeah. Turns out that Adam said it apologized just before you did.
Shoot.
But maybe it's bad luck to have that idol anyways. So I don't know. I think you should be glad, Jack.
True. Like my idols served me well at all, but
not. At least you had them for
more than
4 hours.
Cycle. Yeah.
True.
That was I feel so bad for Nick. I mean, talking it through with them, and then now it's I think a week later we're recording this. It's man, he had it. He had it in his hand, and he remember him walking out and tossing it aside into the little basket, and all of a sudden we're oh shit, he had the idol. That's crazy. And
wait,
I
so
didn't realize.
Yeah, nobody could, only some people realized that was when he just got, right? Only people who knew the clue. So everyone else was when did he get that?
We basically, yeah.
All right, so where do we want to start? So this is the merge episode. It's 2 hours. Was it over 2 hours? Or was it?
It was over 2 hours. There was. I want to say
over 2 hours.
I want to say it was the longest episodes of the season so far. It was over 2 hours.
Is the finale going to be 3 hours? I bet.
Yeah.
Ian said it wasn't. Ian said it wasn't.
He said that this episode was going to be the longest one, but then someone's even more than the finale, and he's I'm not going to make promises on that.
Finale doesn't count as an episode. The finale is a movie.
Yeah, exactly. He'll sell finale part 1, finale part 2, finale part 3. Release them 6 months apart.
So beginning of the episode, Crouch is calling Leia, talking about this advantage, denying that he had the advantage, and then, Cooper's calling Leia and Crouch is listening. Yeah. What is the purpose of that? Is he trying to build trust with Crouch or something?
Yeah, I mean, I feel they were probably just together, and then Leia called him. He's "Oh, God."
But that's risky. I would never take a call with a close ally like that in front of somebody without them knowing.
Yeah, unless does this mean 100%? I mean, I guess it's kind of obvious at this point, but is Coop 100% Andrews is his number one over Leia then? I mean, I guess he did kind of just screw over Leia, so I mean, I guess that kind of answers it.
It kind of seems like that screw. Yeah, I mean, if I feel if you're letting someone listen in your phone call, if it's your number one ally, you don't really have anything to hide, I guess.
Right.
He probably didn't feel he had anything, no matter what Leia said, he didn't really feel he had anything to hide with it.
Dang, that's a lot of trust.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I didn't realize how close they were.
Yeah.
But it does make sense. I mean, he did save him, so it does make sense. But he also protected Leia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, he worked against her interests, but he did. If he wanted Leia out, he could have voted Leia out. He specifically didn't want that to happen. So, I don't know. I thought it was interesting how quickly Leia was able to clock that. It was definitely Cooper did this, not Andrew.
Well, it helped her a little bit by getting the hard evidence, going on her reconnaissance mission,
That was crazy.
Even in a drunken state, Leia has a mission.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. First of all, before we get to that, I want to mention the absolutely shameful display, Sam, that you did in chugging that beer and shotgunning that beer or whatever it was.
That was horrible.
Start of the episode. That was shameful.
I don't know. I can't even explain it. I'm usually pretty good at chugging beer. I don't know. Maybe it's just the thing with shotgunning specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I think I just had the hole just too small.
Mm-hmm.
So you're almost trying to.
It gets stuck.
Yeah.
It's not coming out.
You don't have good shotgun technique.
That was tough. And we see another Dale appearance.
Yeah.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I don't remember that. What was that?
Yeah, Dale was in the shotgun circle.
Yeah.
I
He
totally
could have
missed
given you some
this.
pointers. You drink too many foo beers, saying for to know how to shotgun a real man's beer like that. You know.
Damn. Yeah. That was like, well, Leia searching Cooper's room. It reminded me of like in Survivor when they like search each other's bags and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like when people aren't around. It's like, I don't know. Do you feel like that applies, or is it like kind of out of bounds to do that?
I think if you have people at your house and you're getting them inebriated and you're inebriated,
Yeah.
I think anything goes at that point. You know, I think it's one like you can't obviously break into somebody's house, which I'm surprised no one's really tried that yet. I'm surprised Tom hasn't really done that yet, but
he would have. He was still
yeah.
in.
I think if you're in their house legitimately, I have absolutely zero problem with this.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with this either.
They hide it better. Like I feel like whenever I had people over, I would always make sure my idols were like hidden, like so deep away.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like, I feel like yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one thing if it's like your room. I guess you probably didn't expect people to go into it, but also like it's definitely possible that they are. People are at that house all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. Like Leia was like, espionage is. It's like, sure, maybe it wasn't cool that did that, but espionage is not as bad as like betrayal.
I mean, it's like in the actual show where people hide it, they'll like dig and like bury it.
Mm-hmm.
Cooper should have buried it outside his house.
Yeah.
Or honestly, like, why would you keep that after you've used it? Just like to have as a souvenir? I mean, like, it doesn't have any power anymore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I wouldn't throw it away. I personally wouldn't throw it away. Yeah. I don't like throwing away mementos.
Yeah. I mean, like I've shown on like 5 episodes of this so far. Still got the fake idol, real idol, all that stuff. Still got the bandanas. Yeah,
that's great.
But guys, I think we have. I was just gonna say, I think we have our fashion icon of this episode.
Yeah.
Who is it?
It's Cooper with his yellow glasses.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I very much like remember him wearing those. Cooper. See, it's funny because like me and Leia were out on the porch, like and talking like, wow, I can't believe Cooper lied to us, and like he's the one that actually got Lucy out. And we're literally in the middle of having this like discussion and like filming, and Cooper like comes out, but he's like definitely like very drunk and like just completely interrupts our conversation, talking about him and how Leia just searched his room, and we just like, all right, like throw the phone away, like, oh, we're just singing with you, Cooper, like come on in.
Were you singing? Were you singing?
Yeah.
The start of something new.
Oh yeah. Well, no, that would have been good. That would have been good. High School Musical.
Yeah, a lot of good music dropped this episode. I'm surprised it hasn't got any copyright strikes for it. Like I was worried. Like you're like you can't do this, Ian. Like how you keep dropping these bangers on us.
The episodes are just so long that the copyright people don't watch.
They're just like over it.
Yeah.
they can't.
They're like, it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, did he put any Big Time Rush music in? I feel like he didn't. I didn't hear any Big Time Rush. That was a missed opportunity.
Next time.
We do have a lot of 2000s type stuff.
I think Brie deserves some Big Time Rush theme song.
Yeah, especially Brie and her K-pop. I love how she was like unavailable to meet with Nick. Like, oh, I'm too busy on a Sunday, but like Nick's like, oh, but you are waking up at like 4 a.m. to watch BTS.
True.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say anything against BTS because I don't want the stands on Twitter to come after me. So,
Exactly. Speaking of which, I actually have I'll jump in with a what's it called? A Dog's Gotta Speak segment right now.
Oh.
So Brie.
Early?
Yeah, this early. It makes sense.
Wow.
Right here.
Okay, let's do it.
Somebody asked, and I want to say somebody asked like as a joke, but I was like, oh, this is actually funny. We should actually do this. Like, what is Brie's reaction? Oh, it was in the comments of like KYTL or something. How did Brie react to BTS enlisting in the military? So I don't know. Let's see what.
Wait, what was the question?
The question is, I wonder how Brie reacted to BTS enlisting in the military.
I was unaware of this.
Yeah,
Okay.
they had to serve because of
okay.
yeah.
I've been new that they were possibly going to enlist since I joined the fandom, which was like the summer before All Stars began.
Oh my
Hence
god.
why I'm just prioritizing BTS. And zero regrets because that was like their last concert before COVID. And honestly, the Soul finale dates are like a top tier moment in the fandom. Like if I would have like it's one of those things where like looking back at it, like I'd be bummed if I missed it. So no regrets. But yeah, like so when they announced that they were officially enlisting, I guess I was just more surprised by like the timing of the announcement. But I honestly just wasn't shook. But I will say, this is embarrassing, but I will admit this because I was texting my like army friend about it the other day. I do, because currently one of the members is actively like serving, and the 6 other members are like not. But I was telling my friend, I was like, I do find myself thinking about Jin and like hoping he's doing okay.
Oh.
Which is, I didn't expect myself to feel that way, I suppose. I thought I would just be like, okay, cool, like they're gonna do their time. I'll only like really. I also stand other groups, but I think I honestly like will be occupied. They keep giving us BTS content, like I'm good. But honestly, I won't lie, like it is weird for me to think about like him having to serve. Also, I just am unprepared for like the rest of them going in and all the other K-pop boys I stand eventually enlisting. Like it's just a struggle I have to deal with. It is what it is.
Oh.
Damn, the struggle's real.
Struggle is very real.
So that's how Brie feels. There's part of our Dogs Gotta Speak. I feel like if you're on the topic BTS, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's perfect.
Dang, I can't believe she knew so early.
Wait a second.
New cat.
Can we address what's happening
We need to
on
address
screen right now?
if you're on the video.
This is my cat, Bubble, that I adopted last week.
Ah!
Hanging out.
Look at her.
I love her so much.
I love her colors.
Yeah, I got her a little collar with a bell. So she's she loves hopping up on my desk and hanging out. She really likes she's very cuddly.
Aww.
Aww.
Oh.
Yeah. Are you lonely?
She wants some more attention.
Yeah.
She says, "Stop talking to those people on the internet."
Yeah, she's nice.
Bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Bubble wrap.
Yeah.
Incredible.
She's just been hanging out here. Honestly, as I've been working, she like will sit on the desk next to me.
She's just a loaf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or she'll go sit in my lap. Or she'll bug me and she's like, "Why aren't you playing with me? Like I'm bored." That's what she does all the time. But yeah, so that's a nice development there.
Sam's a cat dad now.
Yeah.
I am.
I'm crying.
Love.
Sarah, when are you gonna get a cat now?
I'm like kind of allergic, so I'm not the biggest fan. It just makes my eyes itch.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's tough.
More of a dog person myself.
Love dogs too.
Anyways.
Episode stuff.
Does your cat drink milk? Sorry.
I haven't gave her any milk yet. But
is that like a thing you're actually supposed to do?
I don't know. Sometimes I do that with like my parents' cat. He likes milk.
Well, I don't know if the cat is getting any milk from Sam, but I know Sam is getting a lot of info from Bailey this episode.
Whoa.
Like that transition. No,
Yeah.
but I do want to talk about Bailey though, because I think Bailey is kind of the star of this episode, for better or for worse.
Definitely.
And
Bailey's mate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bailey and her dark lighting confessionals.
Mm-hmm. So she comes into a conversation with you, Sam, and all next thing you know, the entire 8, it's just all out there on the table. And she spent so long building up.
Who's in the 8? Do you want to talk about who's in the 8?
Yeah. Who was the 8 again? It's like everybody except for you and Adam.
Yeah, it's like
Leia.
Bailey, Cooper, Megan, Emily B, Andrew, Nick, Kevin, Sarah. So yeah.
Yeah, everyone except for me, Adam, Leia, and Bree. Basically, the people that were kind of caught up in this Cooper conspiracy, except for Kevin, kind of like skates by and makes it into the 8. But the rest of us, not so much. So basically, I think that Bailey made this alliance. It was talked about in the last episode, kind of as out of concern, out that she thought that Andrew was going to go home, and she was like, "Oh, I need to have kind of an alliance to counter this like Sam, Lucy, Adam group that's going to be coming into the merge." You know, obviously Lucy goes home instead, and now Bailey's like, "Well, you might as well add Andrew to this 7-person alliance. Now we have an 8." And now I'll just tell Sam about it.
She said that you're hard to lie to.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Do you agree, Sarah? Do you think Sam's
I-
hard to lie to, like from season 2? I feel like, yeah. I mean, I told you about 2 idols, so maybe,
I think
maybe you are
Jack,
just
for
hard.
me, Jack was harder to lie to
Yeah.
than Sam.
You
I
still
don't, what
did.
did you really lie to me about, though? You guess like Mike, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Probably that, and voted me off. Yeah. But yeah, so like, I mean, I feel like in that conversation, it was a lot of like, Bailey was being very vague, and I was like, "Oh, like, what do you mean? Like, very like, tell me more, tell me more." And I was definitely saying a lot of stuff about how, like, listen, like, I know I might not be in a good spot right now, but because of this mistrust you have with Nick and Sarah, like, the game will flip eventually, and like, you're gonna want me on your side. So like, that was kind of my main thing going into that conversation, and I wasn't necessarily sure if it was possible to have any, a flip happen that week. I was like, Adam and I's initial strategy, which we saw in the episode, was to try to throw Kevin under the bus. And then like kind of secondary to that was like me and Adam were both throwing each other under the bus. Like, okay, well, if they don't flip, then hopefully they'll vote off like the other person and not me.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Bailey, once she don't know, he told me about the alliance, she also tells me like, oh, I really don't trust Nick and Sarah, which was, when she said that, it was kind of like she let the cat out of the bag. Now she's paranoid that that information will be used against her.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. Her paranoia was kind of unraveling her whole plan.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
anyways.
What did you think about like Bailey forming this 8-person alliance?
I said last week that it wasn't going to last. I knew it wasn't. And it lasted shorter than I thought it would. I'll say that.
It lasted pretty short.
Not even
Gotta
one vote.
say. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's just hard to have that big of an alliance. Like 8 people is a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 7 is like so much easier.
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, and I mean it is, and it's hard to have, and you're never gonna have everybody's interests aligned.
mm-hmm.
Right.
And if you already are people who, like Nick and Sarah, who you're like not sure about, but you're like, okay, well, I can get them later in the line. And that's just, I can see how even just a little bit of paranoia starts to ramp that up. Like you want a solid group of people. Like you don't want anybody in your alliance to feel like they're, all right, we'll eventually go after them. Even though that's probably kind of impossible to do, but like, I don't know, just 8, it's just a lot.
Mm-hmm.
8's like how much Ohana was in the beginning. Like we had 9, right? That's like if almost everyone in Ohana was just on the same page.
Yeah, if we booted Noah and then final 8 right there.
That's the scenario where Jeremy wins.
Mm-hmm. How many people was like the Normie Alliance? What was that?
Oh, the Normie. Wasn't that like 6?
Like 6, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great alliance right there.
Forgot about that one.
It's like never real. Yeah. It was never really real.
Were any of the
best ones
ever really real?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe very, very little of them were.
Mm-hmm.
Very few of them were. So like another thing with that alliance, and I mean we can talk more about Bailey's decision making and like and how Adam factored into it as well. But like I can definitely see how if you feel like, oh, like I don't trust these other, like I don't, there's division where like, oh, I don't trust these other people, and kind of both sides are like, at some point I want to flip, I can definitely see the paranoia over like, well, I don't want to be flipped on first. Like I want to make the move before they do. So like, how do I make sure that, you know, I don't get flipped on? How do I make sure that I'm the one that's flipping? Like I can see how like suddenly it feels like that timeline jumps way up because, you know, you want to make the first move. And you don't know when the other person's making their move.
Especially with how much, you know, everybody is gaming in All-Stars. Like it's one thing maybe to get that paranoid in a you know, regular season or whatever. But like when you know everybody's scheming at level 11, you know.
Yeah,
Like it makes sense. Like you sympathize with her for sure.
definitely.
Yeah. But it is the merge. So we have the merge feast. We guys got pizza. Did we get pizza? Yeah, we did. We did get pizza.
Yeah, because remember the pizza plate?
Yeah, the pizza.
Yeah, how can you forget?
Cooper is double fisting the pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then I feel like we didn't get any footage on deciding the merge tribe name. Like it just kind of appeared. Scallywags? Where'd that come from?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I feel like I remember Leia really liking that name, like thinking that it was like she wanted it to be pirate themed. Like I don't know. I don't
Sounds like
remember.
an Austin name. I'm surprised Austin didn't somehow come up with it.
I don't know. I think Austin had quit production at this point.
Yeah, maybe it was in
Maybe,
remembrance of him.
Oh,
Yeah, I remember to him. Maybe he like told Lavana.
Oh,
somehow.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, maybe like when you quit Survivor production, you're kind of your soul kind of becomes part of the greater Survivor Michigan thing. Like you lose your corporal body and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So his soul got into the kind of the realm where Lavana is. It stands outside of time and space. So like that was able to incorporate in that way.
No, that actually makes perfect sense because that advantage that Austin created, the right of revenge, is the same thing where after you're voted off, you can still cast a vote.
Wow.
Part of influence. So it's kind of like, you know, it all fits together.
Yeah, what do you guys think of this advantage?
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's unique because I don't think there's any other advantage that like affects you after you're voted out. So it's more so I think leverage.
Mm-hmm. I think like a smart player could definitely do a lot with it. I feel like I don't know, like just thinking through like scenarios, like you know, just being like I feel like it has to be something where you're obviously you're like letting people know about it and just being like, hey, like you know, if you don't go with me here, then like that's automatically vote on you next time and telling everybody that, you know, just leverage there. Like I feel like there's also, if you really sat down and thought about it, there's probably some really clever ways you can do it. Do you guys have any ideas?
Well, when is it good till? Like 5?
I think let's say 5.
I don't know if it's 7.
I want to say they said the last time you can use it is if you're voted off at the final 6 tribal council.
Oh, so it's till 6.
Means that you can
but the vote would be on 5
or the final 5. But like if you're in the final 5 and are voted off, then you know you don't get to use it.
I mean, 1 vote at the final 5, that's a lot of power.
Yeah.
I
mean, obviously, like every week a 1 vote becomes more valuable, but like that could swing a lot, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what.
I mean, I feel like the biggest thing I can think of is like I think it was a great move on Emily Beast's part to tell everybody what it was. Right?
I would definitely tell everyone.
Definitely, that was great
because people could assume they have like she has a way more powerful one you could actually use in the game.
Exactly. Yeah, this one is like a one that it basically incentivizes not voting that person off or like not pissing them off. So it's like you can really only gain advantage by like telling everybody about it, and also gain trust. Like, here's the advantage. I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, and I saw somebody said that it would incentivize her own alliance voter off. But I don't think so because having her in the game and having her vote is better than like having her out of the game and then also having her vote. And also, they'd probably vote against you. She'd probably vote against you if you like sabotaged her.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say something else. Oh, the only thing is, like voting her out earlier would make that advantage less powerful than like later in the game. That's the only thing I can think of that could actually hurt her. In that sense, because it's like less powerful when there's more votes remaining in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
You know,
I feel like the kind of thing where like if you last, the longer you last towards like that whatever final 6 spot, like I can see it being like, oh, do you really want to vote this person off? Because maybe we should wait until after the advantage expires, you know?
Right, exactly.
Getting down to the wire.
And like I can also see people, you know, trying to like I think it was like Sarah Lucina in Game Changers, you know, how she was like knew that Sierra Dawn Thomas had the legacy advantage but she wanted it.
Game changer for Dawn Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. Fan favorite game changer Sierra Dawn Thomas. She knew that she had the legacy advantage, and she knew that if she was voted out that she would get it because she was her best alliance. But she still but she didn't want her to think that like Sarah didn't want Sierra to think that she was the one that voted her out. So like she was like acted all shocked, so she would still get that. So I think it has to be like a similar circumstance where like if you're part of her alliance, you need to like make sure if you do turn on her, that she doesn't know that you were the one who did it and act all shocked and blah blah blah.
Exactly.
It makes sense. Kind of like I watched the 4.5 podcast. Chloe with the Napgate or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
that I was the victim of.
Riff. If you haven't watched the 2.5 and 4.5 podcast, by the way, very great. Go back and give them a listen.
If you've been sleeping on them, napping on listening to us.
Yeah. Yeah, if you've been napping on them, you better wake up. So, yeah, Emily wins the advantage and an idol clue on top of her already potential idol that she already has.
Yeah, so who was competing for the advantage? I feel like I couldn't really tell.
It was her, it was Emily, it was Leia, and it was Sarah. They were
so there's just three people. Okay.
Did you think at all about going for the advantage?
No. I felt like I was in danger if I did not win immunity.
Mm-hmm.
And like if I wanted advantage, you know, not only would I not be immune, but now I'd have an even bigger target than the one I already had. So not even for a second. I just like hoped that one of my allies would win it, and then it didn't. Like it did end up kind of happening, but I was like really hoping Leia would win it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We were on the bottom at that point.
So the challenge was holding a tennis ball between 2 cups, and then after 20 minutes you had to wall sit. I guess like was the final 3 you, Megan, and then Bailey? Because Bailey was good. Like she time hopped to a time where she was good at that, but then she wasn't good at wall sitting, so she messed up that part.
Yeah, she forgot to do the wall sitting part of the time hop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was us 3 and Adam that lasted to the like wall sit like last breaker round. And I remember that like Bailey dropped like pretty close after Adam dropped, and for a long time like Adam was so pissed because he thought that Bailey was only trying to outlast him. It's like after he dropped, he was like, "Oh, like she's just trying to beat me." I remember them having like beef for like basically the entire week over that, and Bailey's like, "What are you talking about? Like that? I was just trying to win. Like it had nothing to do. I didn't drop because you dropped. Like I wanted to win too." But Bailey did really well in this challenge.
That's funny.
You did pretty well too.
You know, I almost had it, but you know, Megan was just like unstoppable force in that challenge. You know, didn't even wait for a little bit. Probably would have helped if I had shoes. I'm like looking back. I was watching it. I was like standing on, it's like trying to like do a wall sit on like a whatever, like linoleum hallway with like socks. Like there's no traction.
Oh, you had socks? Oh my gosh.
It definitely makes it tougher.
That's kind of tough.
I don't know. I probably didn't expect us to have to do wall sits. I guess I don't know.
You didn't take off your socks. Like at least have your bare stinky feet out there. You know, we've all seen them before on this foot fetish channel.
It's what the fans.
It's probably what they wanted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't think of that. I don't know. Megan, and who knows? Megan probably would have won regardless. She did. She looked like she wasn't even. It wasn't even hard for her at all. So. Yeah, Megan wins the first immunity.
Whoa.
And I was like thinking that like, wow, did I just like get voted off? Am I going to get voted off because I didn't win this? Like I was so sad.
Dang.
This must be like right there too. Like so.
I know.
And your hand just freaking slips, you know.
Oh man, exactly. Twitch arms twitches.
Yeah, arm twitches. That's what it. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. I forgot the phrasing I used.
I love the dichotomy between like Megan like cheering with her friends, like taking shots, like celebrating, and like, Adam like sobbing.
Oh,
That was great. I love when we see random cameos of people's friends that you'll never see again. But like,
Yeah.
you're like, who are these people with Megan? We don't know. But
I know. I was
they're
like,
in Tower
whoa.
Michigan forever.
That's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then I guess Sam, you go into Joe mode and you start stalking Emily.
Yeah, it's true. To be fair, it was like after the challenge, I'm like, okay, Emily's definitely gonna go right to the idol, and I'd already done this once at a previous challenge. I don't know if it was in like the episode of the bonus scenes or not, but like the fear pong challenge, Adam and I followed the Sangria tribe to the Pringle because we were like, oh, like they have the clue, like might as well follow them and see where it leads. And so like we just like follow them, and it's like, what are they gonna do? Like not go to the clue now because we're behind them. So we like figured out where it was, but we just didn't know what the clue was. So I'm like, all right, like Adam and I met up after the challenge. We're like, man, like we're both screwed. Like I was like, oh, don't worry, I'll see where Emily goes. And we can look for the idol there. So that's what I did. I like went. Emily was like still there, obviously reading the clues and advantages she just won. So I was like stood at the diag and just waited for her to leave, and saw where she went. Went right to the library.
I love that there was footage of her walking into the library and also footage of AJ walking in.
Yeah,
Like, who took that?
I was like,
Was
oh,
that
that
you?
would be so. Yeah. What was there? I was like, this will be great. This will be great on screen someday.
Oh,
I hope like some random person saw you crouching on
I
a
know,
bush,
you're
like
just like-
recording people, and just like, what the fuck is this kid doing?
You know, you can stalk people in the diag and break into their rooms, and you know, in a normal situation, it's like pretty weird. But as soon as it's like part of Survivor Michigan, like, oh yeah, it's just like
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So, were you about to go look through every single book in Hatcher to see if there was a clue?
No, once I realized that no one was going to give me the clue, I was like, whatever, I'll give up on this. Like they're going to release it in a day to everybody, so
Right.
I just waited for that. And then it was all scratched out, so I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not getting this idol. Tough. Which, like, by the way, that should never have been allowed. That was actually absolutely ridiculous. That they were allowed to. Oh, you can't move the clue from the book, but you can completely make it unreadable. Like, yeah, that's totally fine. Like, it completely goes against like the spirit of the rule. Obviously, the spirit of the rule is you can't modify the clue because the spirit of the rule is you can't prevent other people from finding it. That's why they said not to move it. It's like because it isn't written in the exact words. Like, oh, did they have to write like 10 pages of disclaimers to like what all the things you can't do to a clue? Like that's kind of ridiculous. So I thought they shouldn't have been able to do that.
I mean, some people got around it. Yeah.
I would win because of it.
People got around it.
Yeah. I mean, if it wasn't, then literally every single person in the merch tribe would have known Apollo. Like,
That's true. That was also just like they made it too easy to find.
Yeah.
It was almost two mistakes don't make it like. I mean, I guess the two mistakes ended up working out in such a way that it was good on TV. So like it worked out, and like I can't be mad because I didn't get voted off because of it. But kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, I said this last time, but I think there needed to be like 5 more steps to this. If you're gonna have like everybody, if it's gonna be something where the idol isn't actually like a physical thing, like I feel like there has to be a lot more to it. I don't know.
Do we think the librarian was in on it, throwing her off? Like who from the multiverse was the librarian?
I was hoping that Sam, you would go in and like pay off the librarian. Like, hey, was there just a girl in here looking for a book? Like, can you let me know what book it was?
And ask like what the call number was.
Yeah.
Oh man, I just had no idea.
My classmate just came in here. She's looking for a book. I don't know.
Well, how did you guys know it was in a book and not just like anywhere?
You wouldn't.
I wouldn't have known it.
I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have thought it was in a book.
I just had no idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, I will say I can understand how it feels unfair that like the whole point of Emily won an advantage, and the advantage is having the clue ahead of time. But because the clue is like so easy to find, like it basically rendered that advantage pointless because if everybody finds the Apollo thing, then what was the point of having it a day in advance? Like I feel like that only is helpful if there is like a really long trail of things where you might not be able to find them all in time.
That's actually really true.
That's what I'm
I can
saying.
understand
Yeah.
like that's why
Should've
like,
been
they
5
felt
more
like it was
parts.
justified to be able to scratch it out. But you know, like what's the difference between like why weren't they allowed to just like tear it into 100 pieces and like put it back in the book? Like, oh, we didn't move it, we just tore it into 100 pieces.
And also, like, technically, people were removing it from the book. You
That's
know,
also
like if you
true.
really look at the letter of the word, it says this can't be moved from its place. That would mean to me you can't take it out of the book and put it in the oven. Or like Kevin checking out the
Yeah, he
book.
checked out the
That-
book. Like,
Checking out the
Jerome
book
didn't move
seems
the
like
book.
that it breaks the rule as it's written.
Right.
Oh, that definitely does. I mean, I don't think he asked if he could do that. He just
Yeah,
did it.
I guess it's ask
And
for
nobody knew.
forgiveness, not permission. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it all was for naught because it ended up, not even getting used, and it did end up happening in a really like entertaining way. Like I tons of respect to Adam and Nick for like what they did with the monster mover. Like I want to say like Adam definitely deserves a lot of props for this episode because of that moment and also because of Bailey later on. But like I love that they like found out how to do that and like it actually worked.
Yeah. And Kevin tried to do the same thing. It just didn't work.
And like Nick was saying, it took so long. I think he said he went home at like 1 or 2 a.m. Like they were committed. So if there were like 5 more clues, it would have been very hard.
Yeah. I did think it was just a fun pairing for those two to be the ones that were there together too. It
was so random because we haven't seen them interact too much in the season, and they weren't even on the same side this episode. But like, it was like I love just seeing them. It seemed like they really bonded doing that. I mean, that's for a few hours.
Yeah.
Oh wait, also the random kids next door situation.
Oh,
like I have such a vivid memory of when they actually did that because that video was everywhere.
That was funny. That was like that part of that Halloween scene, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think about Bailey telling John about?
Oh my gosh, John! I was dying at his cameo.
Yeah.
Wait, what did he say again? I forgot what he actually said. I was too excited he had a cameo.
So John was saying that during like all the Halloween festivities, Bailey had told him that there's and that they were going to like vote off Cooper at like the final 7 or whatever. They were going to vote off Cooper eventually. And John's like, yeah, Cooper, like you better be worried. They're going to come after you. And I think Cooper I don't know if he didn't believe it or like.
I think he was too hungover just to really process it correctly. I don't know.
He needed his glass of milk.
Yeah.
He really needs some milk.
That's so funny. Bailey's such a loose cannon in this game.
Yeah, I don't know why she would have told him that. I think though at the time, it also like
hard to lie to John.
And John, like they always like they did want like Cooper to lose. Like they would every single time he'd be around them, they would joke like, "Oh, when are you guys gonna vote off Cooper? Like, come on, get rid of Cooper. Like we want Cooper to lose." She probably thought that, like, he wouldn't try to help Cooper if she told him.
Yeah.
But he did, and then Cooper. They also were always feeding him fake information to make him paranoid. Like Cooper, I heard they're getting rid of you tonight. They say that like every time. So he probably was like, "I'm not gonna trust anything these people say." Like, they're just trying to throw me off.
Poor Cooper.
I don't know. Do you think that it was like, I know that some people were like, oh, like once again, like NPCs interfering with the game. Did you feel like it was...
I mean, no, because Bailey told him, not production. So at that point,
came from the game.
Yeah, I think it's all
that's just part of it.
Like this and Cooper's house, like Leia searching the idol, like I think it all goes down to like consent really, because like Cooper consented to them being in their house. Like it was Bailey who was the one who was telling the thing, So I feel like if it's because of your own actions, like I don't think you can like be mad at people for that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Bailey says that, and then Bailey runs into Adam at North Quad.
In passing.
Yeah. That's
literally
funny.
In passing.
I talked to Adam in passing, decided to flip the game.
Oh, I mean, what happened again?
No, that's when Adam played like I think some of the best Survivor we've seen in a while. Like I feel like in him, like I think you kind of did a good job of like planting the seeds, Sam, in your first conversation with Bailey, and then like I feel like Adam here really just like drove it home. And,
100%.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Adam definitely was the one that like made this. I mean, if Adam had not done what he did this episode, I very likely would have went home. Like he is the person, and I feel like Bailey also obviously like had a lot of power and influence in this episode, but I definitely think Adam deserves credit for like making this actually happen, like actually like igniting the, you know, the sparks, whatever you want to say. I don't know where I was going with that, but
yeah.
I mean,
you laid down the tinder blocks and he ignited them or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, also even before that, I want to give him credit for like it seemed like my impression of how things were going down was that it was between me and Adam, and most likely Adam was going to go home. So that's where I was thinking like I really don't want Adam to go home. Like I want this to flip, but if it doesn't, at least I'll be like safe one more week. Maybe they'll flip next week. And Adam was like, well, like fuck that, like I'm not gonna get voted off this week. Like I want if they're not flipping, then it should be Sam. And he actually like, you know, he threw me under the bus to all those people and actually got them to be like, yeah, like why? I mean, I don't know if it's full credit goes to Adam. I know that like Andrew and some other people wanted me out more, but it seems like Adam was telling a lot of people like, why are you taking a shot at Sam and taking a shot at me? Like, why don't you just vote out Sam? Right. And they're like, actually, you're right. Like, why don't we just vote out Sam? So he also made it so that if, you know, that as a result, the majority votes were on me. So if the idol had been played, you know, that protected Adam from going home in that scenario. If the flip didn't happen, Adam would have So he's like, you know, insulated himself like a lot this episode. Yeah. So he made this move and guaranteed that it wouldn't bounce back on him.
Yeah, I mean, that was a good move, honestly. I don't think you should be seen as your sidekick at this point.
No. I never saw him that way.
Yeah, I know you didn't. Yeah.
But yeah, it's ridiculous that that's the way he was viewed because like Adam's the one that flipped this at the merch. You know?
He ain't no puppet.
Yeah.
He ain't no puppet.
Yeah, I think it's just because you were coming in as much more of a name than he was, you know, having just played season 4 and having being voted out, you know, first from his tribe, basically.
Yeah.
You know? So I think that's just where a lot of the pregame perceptions came in. But like, yeah, if you look at like, you know, resumes of what you've actually done this season, you know.
Yeah.
Pretty damn equal. If not.
Yeah, and Adam also was on an idol and got Lucy to the jury. Forget that part.
True.
But yeah, I think his pitch to Bailey was basically like, you know, you're afraid that Nick and Sarah are gonna flip. Like, you need to flip first. Like, what are you waiting for? Basically, like, yeah, you need to take control, and also like instilling that paranoia that both of us were kind of instilling. Like, you know, we could go to Nick and Sarah. Like, we had that option. You know, and we know that like you don't trust them and that you want to flip on them. And, you know, a combination of like the paranoia and also like making sure Bailey felt good about Adam, making sure Emily felt good about Adam and me and even Cooper. Like, I feel like that's another part of it is like you want the people that you're flipping to feel like you know, everyone in this group is like cool with each other and doesn't have any any
You don't want to just text people and say, "Hey, this is the 4-person alliance," and let them realize that as they're coming to your meeting. Like he's learned a lot in his one semester since then. You know,
exactly. It's come a long way. Yeah, that was like the same exact calendar year earlier.
Right? Yeah.
You know. Yeah. And honestly, I think this is as much as flack as Bailey got this episode, and even as I was giving her this episode, like I think that Bailey made the right move.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it looks ridiculous when you're making the 8 and then immediately flipping on it, but like, you know, like if you actually take a step back, I think I agree with you in that like you always just want to be reassessing where you are and like, you know, maybe the 8 wasn't such a good thing for her, and then to just immediately realize that and try to rectify that. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, it may look chaotic, but like, I think a healthy amount of paranoia, especially how crazy people are playing this game. Like, I don't think she played particularly bad. I don't know. Maybe you know, revealing the 8's existence to you, I wouldn't have done, but
maybe not. Yeah. the other thing is like at the time I thought it was really dumb because first of all I'm like, okay, you made an alliance, then you instantly flip on it without even having one vote. But second of all, the bigger reason is like I thought like, okay, Bailey is flipping into a minority, whereas like I saw me, Leia, Bree, Adam as a 4-person a kind of alliance where we knew that we were the 4 on the bottom and we were working to like flip the game. And I was like, okay, now there's a 7, but we have 4 out of 7. So like, why would Bailey want to flip into like a 7 where she isn't in the majority? And I didn't realize that like, well, Bailey has this Jesse's, what is it called? Jesse's Revenge Alliance. Yeah. The girls' alliance of her, Bree, Leia, and Emily. So
don't call it a girls' alliance.
Not a girls' alliance, just an alliance of girls.
Yeah.
Okay. To be clear. So like, Bailey felt confident, like I'm flipping in this alliance, but I still have majority in the 7. And I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, Bailey's name has like never come up, I feel like. That's probably why she feels so safe throwing around. Like, I just feel like she hasn't really been on the chopping block, so she's at liberty to kind of like not be as cautious with what she says. I don't know. She's in a good position, so
yeah.
Oh yeah, she's in a great position. I mean, she was in a position where she's able to put together 2 alliances that capture every single person in the game.
Yeah, every single person this round wanted to align with Bailey.
Yeah,
and was an alliance with Bailey.
Yes,
so
that's like the most powerful, like influential position is playing the game.
Exactly. Should we talk about tribal?
Yeah.
Did we miss anything else?
I just want to talk about Cooper cooking with Crouch. Like,
yeah.
I don't know why that was so funny to me. Just like the cuts and zoom ins to like Cooper just doing things. What
was he cooking?
Just let Coop cook,
It's fine.
What was he cooking?
Oh wait, we have to talk about the shared custody of the idol idea.
Oh yeah.
That's so ridiculous.
Whose idea was that? Was it Cooper's?
Yeah.
Between,
that was
like,
Cooper
Emily
cooked
B
that one up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cooper, that's what he was cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted to like swap idol ownership like every week, I think.
I feel like it sounds like a Maggie idea. I feel like Maggie wanted to do that with her idol that she found.
Aww.
Like that she had to play in the Jeremy vote. Like I feel like she came to me with that idea.
I think she did. But like I feel like Cooper's is more like malicious intent.
Yeah.
Whereas like Maggie comes from a more like wholesome intent.
Yeah, I mean it's hilarious that like I feel like if Cooper had that idol and like did that, I feel like he could have pulled it off. Like,
I mean, Cooper's face when Nick said it right off the bat.
Yeah,
I know.
Like,
he was also like, I'm sure he also looked so confused. He was like,
it's like what? That was not part of the calculation. Yeah,
think he was probably like, who told him?
He looks like that meme of like the like woman who has like all like the like that was like Cooper. It was like the like what like turn on.
And then Adam did the Apollo thing, and he's like even more so like what? Adam too. Like,
my favorite part is that Nick just said like one word, but Adam launched into like a whole story about it.
Nick was a lot more subtle. Yeah, we talked about that in the interview with him, but like I really do feel like that's one of the best things Nick did. Like, and also like, and I don't mean that as like an insult because Nick did a lot of great stuff, but like that's just like such a great way to get the idol. I don't know.
Right. I wonder if he like practiced. We should have asked him if he like practiced in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time I didn't know about the Apollo thing, and like I didn't think twice about Nick saying Apollo.
Right.
Did you think twice about Adam's thing?
I always just thought that was Adam. I was like, okay, like Adam wanted to say something about Apollo 13, like whatever. It's kind of weird. I didn't think too much of it.
I wonder if you would think different now after watching like the most recent like CBS Survivor, where like you got copy this from us.
Oh my God, that you reminded me what I was gonna say. Like this was before they have them doing that stuff. Where like Marianne talked about the bunny rabbit like 5 times in a row.
Yeah. The one with Xander.
I wrote it down. Oh, what was it? Oh yeah, did you hear the classic tale of the bunny rabbit eating dinner in the mailbox or something? She had to say that like 5 times.
Yeah.
I mean,
so funny. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I just like had never considered an idol or any advantage like having anything to do with like a phrase. You know, so you weren't. I wasn't
Right.
on
It
the
wasn't a
radar.
thing.
People could say anything, and you wouldn't like think twice about it at tribal council.
It's kind of like how in recent seasons, the beware advantage, where you have them like give them your bead because they don't know this is like ever been a thing. Everyone's just like, ah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, if anybody does anything, like it's a little bit weird. It doesn't have to be suspicious, just like some out of the ordinary. Now it's like, oh, they have an
I
idol.
know.
Yeah, Maggie would have gotten voted out right away. People were like, why is she doing tarot card readings? Like that's weird. That's suspicious.
Exactly. That's so funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, this tribal council, you had your fake little fight going on.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting, and Bailey kind of improvising, right? Because Bailey was originally part of the fake fight, and then just kind of hopped in.
Yeah, I remember this was determined at that meeting you saw of the 7 of us before tribal council, where we were kind of deciding whether we're going to get Nick or Sarah voted off. Which, by the way, like Nick was voted off only by 1 vote, like out of that 7. Like 4 people out of the 12 in the game wanted Nick out. You know, if one person had said Sarah over Nick, it would have been Sarah. Nick would have been in the game with an idol. So like that by itself is kind of wild. But
did you say Nick? Did you say Nick?
Yeah. It was me, Cooper, Leia, and Adam who wanted Nick out.
Yeah.
It was Emily, Bree, and Sarah. Sorry, Emily, Bree, and Bailey who had preferred Sarah to go home. But when we were at that meeting, basically it was decided like, oh yeah, like if we can't let them be suspicious. So like if in the scenario that we didn't flip, Sam and Adam, you guys should be, you know, basically like very desperate at tribal council. And the plan that like before they flipped that we had been tossing out was like, you know, let's try to get Kevin out. So like basically the idea was just make sure that that's the narrative that they still think is happening. That like me and Adam like know that one of us is going home. Hope it's the other person. We're both kind of like throwing Kevin under the bus, but also like throwing each other under the bus. Like basically just make it look like that's still what's happening. Well, that's what we did. Bailey hopped into it because I don't know, because she thought it'd be fun or something, I guess. And she did. And it was kind of funny because Adam was like confused. But I feel like it's one of those things where if you were in on it as like part of the 7 or part of the audience, it's like, wow, that's not believable at all. But if you're there at tribal council, like, you know, like it didn't seem.
Nick didn't buy it.
Yeah. Nick, I guess he wasn't even paying attention.
Oh, Nick.
He was just in his head about whether he's going to play a title. So, man.
Yeah. Perceptive to the last second.
He was even perceptive to the last second. It wasn't like he thought he was safe. It was like he thought that I was going to play something and he was waiting for me to do it. And then I didn't.
Right.
Well, then that wasn't very perceptive of him. But
then why didn't he vote when you didn't?
Because I had one of Jackson's necklaces on.
So this all goes back to Jackson. Yeah, so go back to the multiverse. I feel like, yeah.
Jackson is still influencing the game.
Yeah, it's like the advantage, the whatever it's called.
I still feel like there's some role that the librarian has. You're right, Sarah. I'm coming back to that now in the multiverse. Yeah, I think Jackson's in the law school. There's a lot of books. So his necklace. And there's some waves through the universe.
That's what I'm saying.
Explore here
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll need someone to dig in.
And we'll let that ruminate for a while. We can see.
Let us know who the librarian was.
Mm-hmm.
No. So
but yeah, Nick gets voted out.
Nick gets voted out. If he would have played it, I would have been sent home. That's it's very concerning to me as soon as I realized that. I didn't know. I would have been really nervous.
Yeah. You didn't seem very nervous. You were pretty confident. I
was very confident. I knew there were 7 votes on Nick. And I had no idea about any idol things. You know, so
you've had a couple votes like this, like that one. If you hadn't flipped your vote, it's you.
Yeah. That one felt a little more, at least in my control, whereas this one was.
Yeah, it's true.
you don't really, I can't control if someone plays an idol. So it's tough. But I mean, I don't know. Nick, rest in peace.
Yeah, eulogy time.
Nick and Lucy back to back.
Brutal.
I know, man. Season 2 finalists,
Mm-hmm.
King and Queen of the Jury.
Yeah, and I love that it's Lucy and then Nick both times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their souls are intertwined.
They definitely are.
Michigan. Mm-hmm.
I saw someone say that they were both exactly 10 places below where they were the first time.
Damn.
13th and 12th.
I mean, it would have been very hard for them to beat their last placements unless they like won basically.
Yeah.
They both would have basically had like a win. Yeah. I mean, I also like watching it back. I feel bad about how savage I was to Nick in the final voting confessional. I felt kind of like, all right, Nick's trying to get me out. It's like, screw you, I'm gonna get you out.
Oh yeah, your confessional was very savage.
It was.
Yeah, it definitely was. It's like, I get to end your game a second time. First time written your name down. But I feel like we talked about it pretty extensively in Nick's interview. Like we just our alliance had a falling out, and we both were just definitely out on each other at this point.
Right.
It is what it is.
I feel like in the moment when you're voting, like you really want to like say something savage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And then you always think you ate, and then you watch it back, and it's like,
Either you did,
when the read is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick, just as perceptive this time around as his first time. I think he was more so in the middle in this game. I feel like first season he was playing a lot from the bottom, but here he was more so in the swing position.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such a core character, I feel like, in Survivor Michigan history. Like, all throughout season 2, all throughout this season, like, just amazing confessionals, just, like, very good, like, narrator and just, like, explaining his thoughts. Professor Nick, of course. Like, I mean, I don't think Survivor Michigan would be what it is without Nick and, like, and just even, like, his stuff and putting together the 0.5s and everything. Like, he is just one of the backbones, I think, the whole organization. And it's rough seeing him, like, although I don't regret my vote in season 2 for Mallory. Like, it is tough seeing him twice now being, kind of go out in pretty harsh ways. So, I mean, definitely, like, I don't even know what else to say. Is that, like, he's just a Survivor Michigan icon, like no doubts about it, and both in just terms of character and in terms of gameplay, which is rare, so top tier in both. So
so top tier. Like Nick, he was one vote away from winning season 2.
Like, you can't get much closer. A tie vote. Yeah,
no one else has come closer to winning in any of the seasons. And Nick, both times he went out, the tie vote and at Final Tribal, and then saying like the name of saying a phrase and getting an idol. Both of those things were happened in these seasons before they aired at CBS. So Nick's the game changer for sure. I mean, the perception, like, he was the first person to clock like our alliance in season 2 and like really put himself against that. Managed to like make his way to the end through his relationships. And this season, like, I feel like he really did, like you're saying, I definitely agree. He found himself in a swing position all the time. Like, I guess you could maybe knock him for saying like, oh, well, maybe he wasn't super decisive. He never really fully picked a side, but he had a lot of reasons for doing that, which he explained. Like, he didn't want any one group to get too powerful. And I feel like if he had played this idol, he could have been very fine. So like, obviously you don't want to be in a position where you need an idol play to survive. There's probably something there that he could have done differently, but I don't know. At the end of the day, it's really just like he had to play that idol, and who knows what happens after that. And like I think Nick played an excellent game both times, and this one he was voted off because of how much of a threat he was.
True.
Well said.
So eulogy for, you want to go back to...
Do we want to place him first, though?
Yeah, let's place him.
Should we do eulogy then placement for each person?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's look at the, what would it be? 12th place?
12th, yeah.
Yeah, 12th place rankings.
Oh, icons. I got it up. Yeah. We
Who's
got
in it?
4th place. We have Mom, Sarah Avery.
Oh my gosh, she's in 4th. This is
Yeah.
stacked.
We got 3rd place. We got Cam from season 1. Broke his
Wait,
arm.
what? Okay.
No, I don't know why we had to
interesting.
Cam over Sarah Avery. I'm gonna tell her about that. Yeah, and then 2nd, we have Jesse, season 3, of course.
Yeah.
And then in 1st place, we have the one, the only, the robbed returnee who would not a returnee on the season, Camila.
Wow.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow. Well,
I mean,
he's definitely at the top, I think.
yeah.
I think I want to put him at number 1.
Yeah, I think it's number 1 for me,
Yeah.
to be honest.
So the argument of him versus Camila. I mean, Camila kind of got swap screwed, but also like she volunteered to go on a swap tribe when she definitely should not have done that. I mean, Nick, what would you say is his biggest?
Yeah, I mean, Camila was like a big part of like the Ben vote and got into some good alliances. Like, I guess if I want to play devil's advocate for Camila, I feel like she was tighter with people than Nick was. Like, I feel like Nick said a lot in our interview with him that he was like worried that he was not really anybody's number 1 ever. And like Camila was definitely my number 1 and like also like really tight with Megan and like, swap screwed, El Norte screwed by sucking. Yeah. Also like she probably could have not been a volunteer to go on that. Like, I don't know. But like, I feel like, I don't know, like you could argue that Camila found herself in a better spot than Nick ever was.
She did have some really good allies, like Megan, y'all were a tight trio, I feel like.
Yeah. Both of them had like kind of a point where they pissed off some of their allies with the blind side, like Nick with the Jesse vote, Camila with the Ben vote, where maybe it would have turned out a little differently for Camila if like instead of voting off Ben, it would have been voted off like Nate and maybe kept like people happy. Same thing for Nick, maybe. I don't know. I feel like it's hard. It's really hard to knock him for to save Jackson because like it was like the Lucy Idol play messed it up. That it was probably a different story, but he did really piss off. I mean, he really like probably misjudged how upset Bailey would be. Like, I don't think he expected Bailey to like turn right around and vote him off at the merge because of that. So like, I don't know. Maybe I think that's probably the biggest perception miss is that he talked about this too with Cooper. He thought that Cooper would want to keep him around as a shield when Cooper really didn't like, he didn't care that much but to keep him around as a shield. He thought Cooper instead was advocating like, oh, let's vote off Nick because Nick's going to be a threat. And Bailey is like, I want to vote off Nick. I don't trust him. He probably thought that that he was safe at least for this vote. So like, I do want to say that Nick went out more due to his decisions than Camila did, where she was kind of screwed more by circumstance. Yeah. But also like Nick made a lot of good moves this game.
Yeah.
I just think Nick is the best player out of those 3 or 4.
I mean, I guess it's more like for this specific placement, who played the best game like that and their season. Like
that's true, yeah.
Separating Nick from season 2 Nick. Like season 2 Nick
I know.
Looks like season 5 Nick in a vacuum versus these other people in a vacuum.
Yeah, versus
I still think he was a better player.
I think he probably was.
Yeah, I kind of think too. I feel like it's an interesting. I feel like this is a closer one that we've had in a while, but I think it's hard. Yeah, especially like after Eliza gets voted out, I feel like it's hard to see a lot of ways Camila can get to the end because like I feel like we were just as a group kind of drawing dead, and like even if she gets to the merge, I don't know. It just seems like Dale had such a stranglehold. You never really know, but I feel like Nick, if he just plays his idol here, like he's still in a very, very good position. So I don't know. And plus, he made the merge versus not making the merge. It's a bigger season. I don't know. I also
it's
think
16 versus 21 people, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think he was probably better at hiding his threat level than Camila was.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there's also a chance Camila is able to like get the vote onto Katie instead.
Mm-hmm.
It happen. So I think that's fair. I think that's good. Nick is number 1.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I had to fight for Camila a little bit, but yeah, I think Nick number 1.
Do we still have to rank them with themselves, or are we not doing that?
I don't know. I feel like every time we're just like, it's obvious, but I don't know.
Every time we just vote for it, we just say whichever placement is big. I feel like it's worth it for one.
Actually, I feel like Lucy, I want to have a talk about it because I feel like you can make an argument for Lucy.
Okay. Yeah.
But
well,
Nick,
should we do Lucy then?
Yeah, let's go to Lucy. I thought that she played a great game this time around, or like much better than last time. Where I felt like season 2, it took until the end of the season to like really light a fire under her for her to really like get her footing. Versus this time, like she came right out of the gates, like had her first alliance, voted off everyone that wanted her out, like all the way to like when people are handing her idols and saving her. She came to the tribal council she was voted off at was like this like crazy twist advantage thing, and she was actually in the middle that week. So like I think that Lucy played a pretty good game. Yeah,
Lucy I feel like is one of the most advantage screwed people. I feel like in Survivor Mission history, for better or for worse. Like,
I mean, the fact that she went out on a 3-person tribe.
Yeah.
There's like not much you can do there.
Vote, yeah.
Like she really, there's so little she could have done on that boat.
And I think I kind of agree with what you're saying, Sam, and that like, she didn't. That's what I was kind of going to say, is that she didn't really start playing Survivor Michigan until like the final 6 or something. So I don't know, last time in season 2, I feel like, and I feel like she was definitely gaming from the get-go this time. So I think, and like I don't think there's really any scenario where she could have won season 2. I think there's a lot of scenarios where she probably could have won All Stars. If like there's like she had a great redemption arc waiting for her. I feel like if she could have made it to the merge and start really making big moves like she wanted to. So I don't know. I feel like I guess I'm skipping to the end now, but I feel like I want to place her over her season 2 self, even though she was a finalist last time.
Like, could you see season 2 Lucy telling Dylan that if he votes for her, then he's dead?
No way.
Like, I don't see her doing that in season 2.
Oh, it was so great. And it's like, I agreed. Lucy was great. I was say, how people say like Sari got like Sari'd, like when she had like the advantage getting thing happen. I feel like it's got to be a thing to get like Lucy'd. Michigan. That's like the Survivor Michigan version. Like no one else has gotten Lucy'd quite as much as Lucy has. Like
true.
Literally like absolutely zero things she could have done that week. Like as soon as she lost, like that was just it. Cooper was going to use that against her no matter what. So like, what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? So do you want to, should we rank her then?
Yep.
So we got in last place for 13th placement, we got the Queen, the spiritual goddess herself, floating in and out of the game. It's hard to really place her, but Lavana. And then in third place we got Bailey, of course. Second place we got, spoiler alert, the winner of season 4.5, Chloe. And then in first place we got Ben from season 4. Ben.
It's a tough one.
See, I think we can place her above Lavana. Sadly,
I think
Lavana's in last. Lavana should be first and last. She's the alpha and the omega. But I feel like I can place her above Bailey. Season 2 Bailey.
Yeah,
I think so.
Season 3 Chloe.
Season 3 Chloe versus season 5 Lucy. So
season 3 Chloe, I feel like it's kind of, I don't know. We were all, us three were hyped on Chloe going into season 3, of course.
Wait, can you remind me how she got voted out?
Yeah, how did she get voted out?
Yeah, like what happened again? It was like early.
To an extent, she sort of got swap screwed, but also like it was like right before the merge. I think that it was she was like right before Jesse. What happened was Will realized he was on the bottom of this like Tormenta Tafidi alliance, like the Torfidi thing, and like I think that it was that like Chloe and Brady and like Ben kind of like must have made it obvious that like Will like he was in the bottom. So he was like, all right, like screw you, I'm gonna flip and work with Sabu and get Chloe out. Chloe was viewed as like a big threat and like basically like by blindsiding her, like, taking control of the game. So it was like a big kind of power shift when she got blindsided. She also like didn't have her allies in that tribe necessarily, but she definitely like thought that she was in power and her alliance turned against her.
And she made enemies, I feel like, with Sabu. I feel with
That's,
like,
she also did that.
I don't know. That's a tough one for me.
I will say I feel like Chloe had more power. I would say her influence than Lucy. Well, Lucy also was in the majority alliance. But I feel like there were different people who had talked about like Lucy isn't like talking enough or Lucy isn't contributing enough. They never said that about Chloe. But part of it too for Lucy, I feel like was just like perception that like carried over from season 2. Whereas like Lucy clearly did care.
Just like her personality. Yeah. Which,
so like I don't want to knock her too much for that. Yeah, it's a tough one.
And also just to compare with Ben from season 4, like he had very good connections, alliances, and just kind of I don't know.
I feel like Ben also made less enemies in season 4.
Yeah.
Like, season 4 Ben suffered because of season 3 Ben, but he didn't really do bad things in season 4. Like he kind of suffered due to the past, whereas like Lucy at least like she did kind of create some enemies, I guess, with like Aaron or with Dylan mostly. I kind of want to put her ahead of Chloe, but behind Ben.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm leaning too. I feel like she had a bigger influence in the game than Chloe did. I feel like just playing the idol, having close enough alliances for that to get the idol and like have a big move like that to kind of go out in a shitty way. Like, I don't know. I feel like I could talk myself into her being anywhere from 3rd to 1st. So.
I know. It's the thing is it's so hard to like. It was so hard to vote Lucy off in this game because she was like always protected by other people, and like people are giving Lucy idol. Like that's the thing is like Lucy was given an idol and like she got voted off in like an insanely fluky way and was actually in a really good position versus I think Chloe got voted off in more of a standard kind of like, oh, your alliance doesn't trust you anymore.
Yeah,
like, they blindsided you. Like Lucy was blindsided, but it was due to like this like crazy like 3-person tribe like advantage used against her when she was actually positioned pretty well.
Yeah, let's throw her ahead of Chloe.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I feel like
I don't know. I feel like I want to put her above Ben maybe because like Ben, I don't know. Like I feel like did make more of a mistake in getting voted out, and just all the messiness of that week. Like like it's hard to say like there was one big mistake, but
yeah, he shouldn't have tried to vote you out.
Yeah,
but he just lost trust in you because he found out you were lying to him.
Yeah,
and then he flipped back because he trusted you. Probably shouldn't have. But also maybe it's arguable that like that was
like, a bad move on my part.
Or that he it was correct in his reasoning to think you wouldn't vote him out. I don't know. I feel like I'm pretty high on Ben season 4 again. Yeah. I can definitely see the argument for like Lucy getting voted off in such a fluky way.
I mean, and also this goes against what I just said like 5 minutes ago, but also I don't know. I find it hard imagining the All-Stars jury voting for Lucy to win. And I feel like no matter like unless she did some really like crazy things, I feel like she like it's sad, but I feel like there is just too much of a negative perception against her of rather watching Love Island than playing Survivor, or whatever. Whereas I feel like if Ben gets to the end, he probably wins unless people really hate him.
That's true, actually.
But just I feel like he's is it male privilege? I don't know, but like I feel like he is probably a better shot of winning.
I think because
Yeah.
his threat level is a bit
Yeah.
higher going
Mhm.
in.
Yeah. Well, I just think that it's not good to have, whether or not it's true, it's not good to have the label of like, oh, you don't care enough about the
Mhm.
game. It's very
Yeah.
hard for that person to win.
Especially
And I
All-Stars.
put that in itself as a mistake. Like,
Mhm.
you know, even if it's not necessarily true, you need to convince people that you care and that like
Mhm.
you're approachable. I feel like in one of the episodes, like Bree or Leia, like said something like, if Lucy would have tried, this would have been like.
Yeah. All
I
right.
think.
I'll put Ben. I'll put Ben above Lucy.
Okay.
Ben, Lucy, Chloe, Bailey, Lobana. Do we all agree? Sarah, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Next one is Jackson in 14th place.
I mean, yeah, Jackson. What a character. For just quick eulogy. I mean, like, he's definitely also someone you can argue got screwed from things that he didn't necessarily do. I think there's more to the story than that, but I feel like, you know, obviously his game looks a lot different if the whole Abby situation doesn't happen. But you know, despite that, I feel like he was able to, you know, play pretty well and getting back into people's good graces. Like, yeah, like we've said before, like literally every single person wanted to work with Jackson, kind of at that double travel vote, and it just didn't really, you know, he kind of voted himself out. It was the weirdness with Megan's idol or Megan's necklace thing. So like, but I feel like Jackson as a character was amazing on season 4. I feel like somehow he was even better this time. I feel like that might be, I think a lot of people are saying, you know, like he's kind of more of a fun character to watch from the bottom than being cocky from the top. So like he was so, I feel like kind of almost like the face of the season of All-Stars, like pre-merge this time. Like it's kind of the story of Jackson in a little bit.
I agree. The Megan and Jackson, like, like a fake breakup, like whole like secret showmance is like such incredible TV. Never seen anything like that before. Like he was an incredible villain in season 4, and then you get to see him be like the underdog in season 5. It's hilarious the whole way. Like all-time character. Like I feel like one of like the biggest, probably like honestly argument for Mount Rushmore Survivor Michigan as far as like character. All of them, you know, like huge presence on 2 seasons.
As far as like, I feel like he could be on any CBS reality show like that. Like, I feel like
the rom-com that we were discussing.
I guess he didn't like it because he didn't want to be on our show, so he didn't want to talk about that. That's kind of scared him off. But
probably. No, it's the thing. Like, I can't knock him too much for how he got voted off because it was a really crazy twist, kind of tribal council. An idol got played. You know, and like there was reasons for him to be sketched out about voting for Cooper. So like, although yes, he had the knowledge to figure it out, he should have voted for Cooper. I can't knock him too much for what he did. Like I think that Jackson started out in a tough spot just because of his reputation, and he played pretty well and went pretty far for like. I feel like after watching the first few episodes, like it was hard to predict that he would make it as far as he did.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I kept thinking he was going a lot earlier.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, maybe something needs to be said, like, you know, for his challenge prowess. Like, he didn't go to a lot of tribal councils. Like, was that because of him? Like, maybe? I don't know.
He pulled.
Yeah.
Did. So 14th place, huh? Yeah, do you want me to read it? Yeah, 14th place. I mean, these are all, I love everybody in Survivor Michigan, so every time I'm like, oh, these people are amazing. But we got in 4th place, Jess, who will not apologize. We got season 4, Adam. We got, in 2nd place, we got Sarah Minnis, the worst placing of the Sarahs, sadly. And then 1st place, we got the maniac himself, Kevin. Whoa, Kevin. Nice. That's kind of, I didn't realize Kevin and Jackson had the same placement. That's kind of funny.
Wait, isn't Sarah Gallagher the worst placing of the Sarahs?
Well, okay, I guess now in terms of average.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of thinking in my head, because Sarah Gallagher is still on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like best one. I don't know. Yeah.
No offense, Sarah Menace. I think kind of just best in terms of worst, probably Survivor player. That name's Sarah. I'm being mean to Sarah Menace. I don't have anything against Sarah Menace. I don't want to be mean. Okay. Anyways.
I mean, I almost want to say, like, should we just go Kevin versus Jackson?
Yeah.
Get the other three.
Definitely similar characters and kind of like the cocky, chaotic guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Jackson, did it a lot better than season 2 Kevin, especially. Like season 2 Kevin, did not play a particularly good game, and I think he found an idol. He got the interesting cross tribal alliance with Mom and stuff. He was able to make alliances and stuff, but I feel like Jackson, obviously, I think we can pretty clearly say like he was better at navigating this game. He survived a lot more votes, obviously. Like it's weird comparing like 21 people season to.
I know these early ones are like every single All Stars person is number 1, but there's just so much more gameplay that happened. There's so much more supposed to survive to make it to these placements, and I mean,
I feel like Jackson was more self-aware too of his actual position.
Definitely.
Like Kevin really thought he was like at the top at all times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Kevin, the way Kevin went out versus the way Jackson season 5 went out were very different.
Yeah. So we can put Jackson in at the top, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason these people are all stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, Jackson, just one Cooper vote away from making the jury, and Kevin was not quite as close in season 2. Now, last eulogy of the day, finally made it. Got to our good friend Jesse.
Woo.
Jesse, part-time player.
Yeah, part-time player Jesse, who I think once again played much improved over her first time. Still had that perception and that we like loved from season 3. I feel like this time she also like had like much stronger alliances and like I like that she didn't really make enemies other than I guess Jackson. Last time like she was like very much caught between this Will, Ben, war, but this time it was like she was able to make up with Will, like gain him as an ally, kind of like be a big part, like form this girls alliance that like is still existing in this game. They named their alliance after her, and like she got sniped in this like really weird scenario, just like Jackson did, where like in a lot of scenarios I think Jesse makes it really far into this game. So like I mean she was in a good spot to where people liked her and like trusted her and like respected her, but they also like weren't super threatened by her. And I don't know, it really was just like this kind of crazy 2-vote thing that got her out.
Yeah, I feel like there should be like an asterisk over like all of like these last like 4 people, almost 3 people. Yeah, that's true. A lot of I guess episode 7 was a lot of like people screwed by twists kind of stuff. I mean like definitely I'm glad that she came back on the season. Just super fun to watch, like great like low-key confessionals that she's just roasting, but
I wonder what happened to her little board thing.
The like
to get rid of it. Yeah, she didn't use it this time.
That's true. Maybe wish she had.
Maybe she would have made it further.
Exactly, she was saving it for the merge. I don't know. Yeah, rip Jesse, very funny.
Yeah. So do you want to get to the rankings? Yeah, so this is another murderer's row right here. We got in 4th place AJ.
Whoa, wow, this is gonna be tough.
Whoa.
In 3rd place we got season 4 Tom.
Let's go.
2nd place we have the OG fashion icon himself, Nikhil.
Nikhil.
Yeah.
Wait,
And then in first place, we got Crouch.
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 Wow. Okay.
See, I think I'd put Jesse over the first three. I feel like pretty much any day, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Crouch, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Crouch in his first season
Yeah.
was just very unlucky.
Yeah,
He was.
Crouch season 3 is very hard to compare against because I mean,
Right.
it's a rock draw, and he
Yep.
seemed to be pretty well connected with everybody. People liked him. We didn't really get to see a ton of strategizing then, and like I don't want to use like because we're supposed to just like narrow in on like the specific season,
Right.
but like I feel like we can see kind of in season 5 that he has a pretty good strategic mind.
Yeah.
So maybe allows us to like extrapolate like a little bit more what could have been. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's hard to really say that he did a lot wrong besides maybe going to Rocks. But is going to Rocks even the wrong decision, even though he went home?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I don't know.
There's a what 10% chance that he
Yeah.
drew it because he did, or 12% or something. Like
Yeah.
they both went out. Him and Jesse both went out in kind of like these weird tribal councils where like if it's a straight up tribal council where you're voting for who you want to go home, no chance that either of them goes.
Right.
They both had this weird situation, but I feel like Crouch is even more unlucky.
And I don't know. Yeah, like Jesse's definitely a good player, and I think she's like pretty well insulated and like has some good alliances. But like again, like I feel like it's harder to see her really turning on the engines towards the end game. I don't know. Like I feel like it's harder to see Jesse winning All Stars.
Yeah.
Than it would be to see Andrew win season 3.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I mean, it's really hard to say what happens in season 3.
Yeah.
Andrew also did have probably a bigger target on his back than Jesse did, but I mean, there's really not a ton to knock on Andrew's season 3 game.
Yeah.
It really can't point to much at all. Versus like, you could probably point to like, I mean, if Jesse had a better relationship with like Nick or Andrew or Jackson, maybe they don't want to, or Sarah, maybe they don't decide to vote her off. They vote off Leia instead, you know? So I feel like they vote her off because they're like, oh, this will make people less angry.
Yeah.
You want people to be upset that you're home so they don't vote.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of on her.
So, yeah, do we want to do Andrew first, her second then?
I think that's good.
Oh, we made it.
Woo.
We made it. Let's
4
go.
eulogies and rankings done. Do we want to compare Jesse season 5 with season 3 Jesse?
Yeah. I mean,
I feel like
15th.
Like I feel like she survived a similar amount of tribal councils, you know.
That's true.
In terms of
yes.
like,
also she was voted off for the first one.
Okay, well, I guess I mean in terms of I meant more in terms of the tribal councils that happened, not the ones that she was at. So that's a pretty bad stat to have.
I mean, she did. I guess she won immunities, but also she wasn't picked in the draft.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Jesse, I feel like she had I feel like she was like more respected, had more of like a say, like this time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like last time she was maybe more of like a number in Alliance. This time she was like a crucial like part of it.
Honestly, I feel like she was very similar for me in both seasons, except for the fact that in her first season she knew less about Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she knew less about Survivor. Well, I feel like she had coming into this season and having more knowledge of Survivor, like allowed her to play better.
Yeah.
She was, like even more aware of her position and like things she should and shouldn't do. And also like last time she had like basically an enemy in Will versus this time, like, I mean, I guess Jackson didn't, Jackson were on the same page, but it didn't feel as much like she was like,
making
people
it
like directly wanted to be out.
Yeah, I think I put her above her first time.
I think so too. I think she was improved.
Oh.
But she also has never voted correctly in a tribal council, very sadly.
She's never?
I mean, technically the in season 3, the first one she went to, like she knew that Nicholas was going home, but she was told to vote for Aaron as like a split the votes.
I
So
never
she like
realized
knew what's
this.
happening, but she actually has never voted for the person that went home.
Interesting. Huh.
So tough. Maybe it didn't happen in this season either, but maybe
All Stars 3. Yeah.
Yeah, All Stars 3.
All Stars 3 is gonna be wild.
Yeah.
But not All Stars 2. We don't
Yeah.
care about that one.
I don't think that one exists. I think they're just going right to 3.
Right.
Yeah. But
there's one more thing. I gotta do a Dog's Gotta Speak. One more.
Oh, on who?
ooh, bark, bark.
Bark, bark.
Well, I got
There's
texted by Speak of the Devil, Andrew
Jesse?
Crouch.
Oh.
Andrew Crouch. So he says that he wanted to submit a clip talking about why I didn't tell Nick and Sarah about the vote at the merch, which I think is a really good question. Like, why?
Yeah,
he
is.
had the knowledge. He could have blew things up. He could have told Nick to play the idol.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting scene that I feel like maybe we should have talked more about that rather than just the food, how funny it was that Cooper was cooking. Because that was actually kind of an important scene other than the Cooper cooking part. But yeah, no, I want to hear it.
Hey everyone, I'm going to talk about why I decided to not tell Nick he was going home. So, Emily B, Bailey, and Cooper decided to flip. There's not a lot I can do because Emily B is already not on board with the 8. She is pushing to vote out Kevin, and Bailey is the one that initiated this plan. So there's just not a lot I can do to rein that back in. And I have a decision to make. Do I tell people about it or do I keep it to myself? And what I decide on is if I tell people, it doesn't do anything for me other than put me in jeopardy. And it's better to stay out of the drama if I'm going to be on the wrong side of the numbers. So I keep it to myself. And part of that is because I'm unaware of the fact that the word Apollo is a keyword and that Nick has a way to save himself. And so when Nick gets this idol, he doesn't have complete information, and I don't have complete information because I don't know that he has an idol. So ultimately, that's the way things shook out. And if I was aware of the fact that he had it and the clue wasn't blacked out, could be a different ball game. But anyways, that was my thought process.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point, especially at the end there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like, he didn't know about the idol.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he would just be burning bridges if he had said something, because there's no guarantee that he's able to, get the votes changed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that what he did was good. He was in a tough position for sure, at this point, because what is he gonna do? You don't want to blow up the game, but you also don't really want to be in the minority.
Yeah, you gotta assess what's the best damage control.
Mm-hmm. I think you don't have to meddle in every vote. I feel like that's, if you know what's going on, but you're not, and even if it might hurt you a little bit or hurt people you're friends with, but if it doesn't hurt you specifically, too much, I don't think it's a bad idea. Just not always stick your nose into it. I feel like
it's actually true.
I feel like Sam has the habit of wanting to stick his nose into every single vote. But
I feel like Cooper does too a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. It's a good strategy to play dumb a little bit. You don't need to show all your cards.
Yeah.
Andrew can pretend to be blindsided and actually know what's going on, and it's a good thing to know more than people know that you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay to be a little mysterious.
Yeah.
Because there are known knowns, but there are unknown knowns. But this is an old.
Wait, there are no knowns?
Yeah, wait. This is a quote. This is similar to Sam's Axis of Evil. This is an early 2000s American political quote.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I definitely do. I think it's something about known knowns or known unknowns are fine, but you don't want unknowns.
Yeah. This is Donald Rumsfeld. He's a terrible man.
I have heard of this.
There are known knowns. There are things we know. We also know there are known unknowns. That is to say that we know there are some things we do not know, but there are also unknown unknowns. The ones we don't know, we don't know.
That actually makes sense. Yeah.
So which
So
one?
Andrew had an unknown that he didn't know that Nick had an idol, but he had a known that Nick was getting okay.
If he would have known,
It makes
the
sense.
unknown, then he would have told him, and I would have went home. It would have been different. Yeah, there you go. No, I think that Crouch played this episode pretty well. You know, so there you go. There's Doctor's Gotta Speak. Thank you, Andrew.
Bark, bark.
Bark,
Woof,
bark.
woof. All right. Well, it's been another great episode. Recapping a long episode, ranking some people. Yeah.
Yeah. We apologize that we have to go.
Mm-hmm.
We have to go eat.
Great talking, and we will see you guys later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.